and welcome. This is my second part of my YouTube series, The Slow Cancellation of the Future. I am going to give a response to the question that I posted in my last video, so I recommend you watching that video first before watching this one. So, let's get into it. What kind of hope for the future did the past have that we don't today? The big difference is the hope and optimism for the future. The past's hope for the future seemed to be filled with wonder and imagination, compared to ours, where it seemed like it's filled with dread and hopelessness. The past had a gold rush of innovativeness, reflected by the economic post-war bloom, which opted for acceleration and optimism. Flying cars would be a fact, colonies on the moon and Mars would soon happen, and no one would need to work because of automated machines that did the work for us. And architecture would join in for the ride too. Futuristic dystopian movies like Blade Runner and Star Wars were on the front of the innovative gold rush. And new music genres getting shit out every year or every month. The point being is that the past had a positive and hopeful outlook towards the future. And really, in the past it seems like people thought that everything would change for the better in the near future. But those changes never happened. Our hope for the future withered away with the years, and thus we lost our futures. A good example to just show you how optimistic our past was compared to today is the long boom. The long boom was an idea introduced by the well-regarded magazine called Wired about technology, business, and future trends. The long boom is a scenario about a long 40-year period with global and economic prosperity from the 1980s to the 2020s, with technological innovation at its front. So basically, this is how the past predicted how the future would be like, and the future being the 2020s. If we take a look at the 1997 edition that tries to predict the upcoming future up to 2020 at page 121 online, you can see that it's pretty much radically optimistic. They were quite on point with a lot of stuff, like the boom of technology and Asia's economic rise, but they were too early with the prediction of a global pandemic, global sustainability, and even living on Mars before 2020. We still have a bit to go there. But they were still accurate with a lot, particularly at page 135, the last of 10 scenario spoilers predicts and says, "A social and cultural backlash stops progress dead in its tracks. Human beings need to choose to move forward. They just may not." And this was written in the 1980s, mind you. This is exactly what Fisher has been talking about. Culture is slowing down and repeating itself with a haunting shame or guilt of what could have been, and instead of resolving it, we ignore it. Which is why today we are exhausted by the gold rush of the false hope of the past. Retrofuturism reflects these lost hopes. What we then imagine the future to be never were, and that allure of failure haunts us. We are haunted by the lost future. And thus, we look longingly back at the rear-view mirror of the hopeful past, forgetting our own sense of passing time in the process. Smartphones are still the same. The 3DS came out 14 years ago and got replaced by the Switch. Games and movies copy and repeat each other. Paywalls are everywhere, and music is always the same. It doesn't feel like it's 2025 at all, doesn't it? To be a bit more clear, in Ghost of My Life, Fisher also introduces Jack Derrida's term, ontology, which here it means that the culture of our past is so mixed with ours that it haunts us. The crackle from an old vinyl plate is the best example, in my opinion, from Ghost of My Life. The crackle reminds you that the song was made in the past, but however, new media services like Spotify makes the music as present as possible for the subconscious to not notice that it was made in the past. Thanks to this, the hope that our past had for the future lay still upon us. We refuse to give up that unfulfilled potential of the now lost future. We're mourning the past, but never really letting it die out. We are addicted to its echoes of melancholia. We are addicted to longing the past, even if we didn't even live it ourselves. We are obsessed with romanticizing it. And how does this look like today? How does this really affect us though? Stay tuned for the next part to find out. Goodbye!